Kingdom Rush Frontiers is my favorite game of the series. It has the best towers throughout all of the games, and it also has
the biggest piece of dog shit.
The archers in this case falls somewhere in the middle. In this challenge I'll be putting their use to the test. Are they closer to peak or closer to trash? Let's begin. The first level, as you may guess, went down pretty easy. Fun fact, when I was a little kid playing these games, I thought Malgar was just Veznan. Like, my underdeveloped brain couldn't comprehend there being two evil guys with glowing eyes. Anyways, a few shards later, the next level was also over. Mirage was unlocked, but Alric's Sand Clone Jutsu is simply essential for now, so I kept them. The first tier 4 of this challenge was also available, and instead of buying it, I just bought a bunch of genies. I love these guys. This is one of my favorite special tower in all of the games. As long as I don't get caught lacking by the Dune reference, these guys will carry this level anyways. And carry they did. Captain Blackthorn was here for the next level. My prior experience of these games were either playing the browser version as a kid or playing them from mobile, so unlocking these heroes like this was new to me. Anyways, a dozen Molotovs and a couple carpet bombings later, this level was also done. Now, to the boss of the first area, Orange Wilsmith. With no special towers to carry my ass, the difficulty of this challenge was starting to show off. I neither had the area damage to deal with the mummies, nor a strong hero to deal with the rats that spawned them. Or the magic damage to deal with the scorpions. And as a cherry on top, no units to hold the Dune terrors. Two of these issues can be fixed if I stopped being a certified jackass and just picked Alric. But I had already gotten a taste of the money, it was too late to stop. I was chasing wasps in the air hoping to get +2 extra gold when they die near me, it was pretty sad. A couple more failures later, I did suck it up and changed back to Alric. And yeah, he's kinda the god. With the sand clones maxed out, he was basically a walking barrack. It did kinda get close at some point, but later into the level, two of our other problems were also fixed, just through sheer amount of firepower we had. And now, time for the boss.
Stay frosty.
I thought this was going to be difficult for some reason, since the rest of the level was pretty tough. But like, an acorn must have fell somewhere because my crossbow forts panicked a little and emptied their whole magazine on Nazaro. After which he, stopped moving. Now, it was time to terrorize some uncontacted tribes with our firearms. Cronan was unlocked. He also has a summoning ability that seems to be kinda worse than Alric's, but I still wanted to try him out cause why not. This region in general was going to be easier on us, since the spiders are magic resistance heavy rather than armor heavy. Yeah, this level really didn't have much else. The high burst of my crossbow forts were a perfect counter for the witch doctors, since once they were done with their attacks, there was no health left for the witch doctors to heal. Aside from that, the ladies from the special tower were holding off all the spiders. It's actually crazy to me that they don't have a ranged attack with their spears. But given how easy this level was, it was probably for the best. With the stars from this level, I was finally able to turn my reinforcements into their final form. I also had access to magic damage now with Bruxa, and also unlocked the final tier 4 tower for us. Things were looking good. My plan for this level was to hold the main forces ahead of our final stand with Bruxa as much as possible and pick the last ones off with our hooligan friends here. These savage hunters would usually be a big problem, but I was absolutely walking them down with Bruxa. Seriously, why the fuck is he so strong though? Aside from a few happy accidents every now and then, my plan was working. And I finished the level without losing any lives. It's something I'd like to say, but I accidentally called a wave early and lost 15 lives. Anyways, I did unlock Nivus. He also deals magic damage, but some of the future levels are gonna require a lot of carrying from the hero, and Nivus's crusty ass isn't really up for the job. So I kept going with my queen. The next level was one of my favorites in the game, since you unlocked the Necromancer, but we can't use him in this run. Get this video to 500 likes for a wizard only run. My strategy was going to be similar to before. Bruxa will take the front 2 paths to Sutol and whittle down the forces, and my archers were going to deal with the spiders and the parasites. The Pukai Riders were just a more annoying version of the Savage Hunters, but the way to deal with them was the same. Needed to be kinda careful about my unit placements, if I didn't want things like this to happen. Close one. With that, the level ended. I did slip up to the end, so no 3 stars this time as well. These lack of stars were going to bite me in the ass later on, I would imagine. I was purposefully not redoing all the levels to sort of punish myself a little as well. The other goat from this game was unlocked this level, but it means nothing for me sadly. Earlier parts of this level was pretty easy. Thanks to my maxed reinforcements, I could smoke these incels very easily before they reached their laptop to make another 4chan post. The fact that we unlocked Deirdre on this level and we also saved these girls here made me think she's one of the girls we save. But hey, that's just a theory. Later on, the tides started to turn on me because of the blood tricksters. They were like a 10 times worse version of the raids from before. Bruxa wasn't really the best for blocking them either, so I didn't really know what to do. They also countered my strategy of whittling down waves by one-shotting them since they can just revive whoever I got rid of. I managed to brute force the early levels, but later on I just got overwhelmed and got another L. There were two issues with my playstyle. I should have utilized the totems from my X-Trovers better, and I also should have dealt with the blood tricksters better. I just needed to block them until the rest of the wave was passed, so that they're isolated. Didn't even need to kill them at that point. And yeah, after fixing my strategy, the victory was mine. Now, on to the final boss of this region. That one gorilla from that one The Rock movie that you completely forget about, just like any other Rock movie. Bruxa was level 9 at this point, so she was genuinely disintegrating these unsuspecting cannibals. This stage was somehow easier than the rest, because I've gotten way better at dealing with the blood tricksters. The hardest part of this level, I guess, was to not get baited into attempting the temple puzzle and ruining things for myself. By constantly micromanaging Bruxa, I was able to stall most enemies at the middle entrance. Now, it was time for the boss. These guys were somehow worse than Nezaru, like they couldn't even one-shot units. They just kinda jumped around the stage and threw explosive poop at us and then just fucking died. Now, it was time for some pest control. Aside from somehow mastering quantum optics to achieve invisibility, these lizards were pretty mid. They were just sending me a bunch of slow enemies with high stats. If the further levels are gonna be like this as well, this region was also going to be a piece of cake. Anyways, a couple gravitational manslaughters later, this level was also done. My Rain of Fire was maxed out as well now. You may think it's kinda lame to focus on my spells when doing an archer only challenge, but fuck you, shut up. The next level was taking place in Barisad's Goon Cave. Aside from doing absolutely nothing, he occasionally burned my towers, because he's, as they say, a fucking piece of shit. With the appearance of the Saurian darters and the Savants, bit of a disparity was starting to show. My most advanced technology was shooting arrows mildly faster than average, whereas these lizards somehow had access to quantum tunneling and repulsor technology. Anyways, I was still pulling through. The fact that I was doing something with my life instead of jacking off and sleeping all day must have offended Barasat a little, so he increased his attacks on my towers. Things were looking really bad to the ends of the level, but I somehow managed to pull through. Next stage was also one of my favorites, or let's say used to be my favorite. These dwarf fucks had a way better image in my head for some reason, so I spent a good amount of money on them, but they were genuinely useless as fuck. I didn't have a hotkey to use Longbeard for kiting, so most of the time he was standing around. Until he eventually gets slain, that is. The biggest issue at the end of the day was the Savants though. This was basically the same situation as the Blood Tricksters, but the Savants were able to deal a fuck ton of damage even at melee range. It was still kinda close, but I took another L at the last wave. I picked Growl for a change to see if he'd work better against the Savants, but like...
Here comes the pain.
It was just too slow for my taste, and I was too lazy to level him up. So, back to the goat. I redid the level and just timed my Rain of Fire better, and yeah, that was it. Also, Longbeard's portrait kinda reminds me of Broth for some reason, I don't know why. Now, after everything, it was time for the final boss of our campaign. I couldn't come up with a joke for this one, guys, it's just Umbra. It was kinda crazy that we were at the final stage and I still didn't have my archers maxed out. Anyways, Malagar was occasionally shooting down my units, but the greatest damage he was causing me was through his shitty Veznan impression, honestly. This level in general was pretty easy. And at the end of the 15th wave, it was time for my archers to face Umbra. I won't be doing a commentary on this one, so yeah, just enjoy the fight.
Upon you! Payment is fair! Crucio! Cast it upon you! Payment is fair! Crucio! Cast it upon you! Payment is fair! Crucio! Cast it upon you! Payment is fair! Bon patron! Cast it upon you! Payment is fair! Crucio! Bon patron! Payment is fair! Crucio! Kontaktion.
Archers ready.
Time for target practice. I'll be
Casted upon you. Payment is paid. Crucio.
Time for target practice.
Kontaktion. Casted upon you. Crucio. Casted upon you. Payment is fair. Crucio. Casted upon you. Payment is fair. Crucio.
Archers ready.
Kontaktion. Casted upon you. Payment is fair. Crucio. Casted upon you. Crucio. Casted upon you.
Archers ready.
Crucio. Kontaktion. Casted upon you. Crucio.
Dodge this.
Kontaktion.
Archers ready.
Casted upon you. Crucio. Kontaktion.
Well, that was still relatively easy. He did kinda surprise me a little by destroying more towers than I expected, but it turned out fine really. Now, to our question. Are the archers peak or trash? I'll say they're pretty mid I guess, I don't know, I couldn't decide. Thank you for watching till the end, have a nice day, bye.